Okay, I have time. So I will call to order the special meeting of the Green Mountain Water and Sanitation District, August 26th at 6:31. Starting with roll call, I am Karen Morgan present.
I'm Marcia present. Roger Wendell present. Philip Carter present.
David Whitman is absent tonight. But we do have a quorum. Are there any changes to the agenda? I don't see any. Public comment? We have 5 minutes for public comment. Can we start online? Is there anybody who would like to raise their hand and speak? Ludmilla.
It takes me a while, but I'm here. And as you can see, I've got 2 phones. I got a phone going and a computer going because you just never know what's going to work. All right. Good evening, directors. Morgan, Director Wendell, Director Hardinger, Director Weichman, Director Martinez. Hello, Dylan. Is Dylan there? Yes, he is. Hello, Josh. Is that Josh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it Sam? No, Jesse's here today.
Hello.
And everyone in the audience. Gloomy day, but positive side, cooler temperatures and well-needed moisture. So this is a public hearing regarding excluding service to the contaminated, I almost said a bad word, property located on the Federal Center, which in my opinion is a terrible mistake. No matter how I feel personally about building houses on the contaminated property, there will be no oversight based on the city of Lakewood's negligence in allowing this company to monitor themselves. Let us pray for those that purchase homes that will be built on this contaminated property, and shame on the directors that had blinders on and were not in tune with the entire picture to see how this would affect the development of this property without any oversight that Green Mountain Water could have provided to protect these home buyers. Everyone talks about metro districts policing themselves. The only directors on their board are the developers. They do not allow homeowners to be on the board. These developers will not police themselves. They will not do any tests. And what about the cap? Will they remove the cap? If the cap is disturbed, will they notify anyone? No one will know, as they are their own policemen now. I'm extremely disappointed with the board members that allowed this to occur in the first place. And if they continue to pout like children because they were not elected into the positions they desired and are protesting by refusing to participate and engage as actual board members, take positions, volunteer their time, they should just resign and be on their way and go on with their lives, because they're doing a disservice for their customers. They are unprepared and they're very disrespectful and combative at the board members. Okay, I'm done, and I'm sure you're all happy that I have nothing else to contribute. I expect the board members to be ladies and gentlemen, and if they are not, throw their out. Good night.
Good night, thank you. Anybody else online like to raise your hand and speak? Anybody in the room like to speak? Yes.
What's a joke? I wanted to bring you all up to date on a conversation, 2 conversations I had, and report on a conversation that I heard at the Ward 4 meeting that pertains to the comprehensive plan. I confirmed with both Ward 4 counselors that they had in fact received the letter. That was on Saturday at 1:25. So that's an additional confirmation that it was received. If Josh, you didn't receive anything back, to acknowledge that. Second thing, perhaps more important, is the little thing that one of the counselors let slip in this conversation with someone on the other side of the room for where I was, but I heard it quite clearly. And he said, well, Green Mountain Water is out of touch because they're using wrong data. We haven't had 4 people average home. People living in a home in years in Lakewood. And of course, that's never been the measure, it's flow and depth. But that is what the staff has been telling them, so not surprised that counselors would think, well, staff knows what they're doing, they're giving us real data, when in fact, they don't know what the real data is, so I think that's a weak point that you all can exploit. My impression was, they're not very happy to receive the letter. And they're even less happy that the statute is not in their favor at all in this one. So, well done, you guys. It's about time we all had one that looks good on paper.
Thank you.
Thank you, good to know. Former Director Dave Garner speaking. Good. Looks like that is it for public comment. So we will close that out. Thank you both. Move on to the first matter of the night, the hearing and consideration for the exclusion of the LLP property for the Bend. And I didn't hear any public comment regarding this matter, so. And I don't see anybody else here, so it looks like we have a short hearing. So if we are at a point where we can make a motion and discuss excluding the property. Anybody like to make the motion? I will move to exclude the Lakewood Land Partners, the Bend property as described in the notice
I will second.
from the Green Mountain District.
I'll second that. Yeah.
Thank you, Lindell. Any discussion? Anything we need to know?
We have a resolution prepared that takes into account the statutory criteria for consideration of the exclusion. And I can go through that if you'd like, or if you're prepared to vote, that would be fine as well.
I
would appreciate you going through it.
I would appreciate going through it too, but I guess that's what I was referencing. Do I need to do it different? The motion
Nope.
for the
you're good.
resolution? Okay.
You can make a motion in substitution if you want to, but
As long as we all know what we're talking
we
about.
know it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So upon petition for exclusion of property by a property owner, the board shall publish notice of a hearing, hold a hearing, and shall take into consideration and make a finding regarding the following factors. The best interests of the property to be excluded, the special district from which the exclusion is proposed, the county or counties in which the special district is located. The relative cost and benefit to the property to be excluded from the provision of the special district's services. The ability of the special district to provide economical and sufficient service to both the property to be excluded and all of the properties within the special district's boundaries. Whether the special district is able to provide services at a reasonable cost compared with the cost that would be imposed by other entities in the surrounding area to provide similar services in the surrounding area. The effect of denying the petition on employment and other economic conditions in the special district and surrounding area. The economic impact on the region and on the special district, surrounding area, and state as a whole if the petition is denied. Whether an economically feasible alternative service may be available. And the additional cost to be levied on other property within the special district if the exclusion is granted. And as a final note, if the property to be excluded is to be served by a special district not yet formed, the resolution approving the petition will not be effective until that special district is formed. So that's the situation that you're in here, because the services will be provided directly by the Bend Metro District, which will be formed later this year. So if you elect to exclude the property tonight, that exclusion itself will not become effective until it is included in the Bend Metro District. And that's as stated in the settlement agreement that you previously entered into.
Although highly unlikely, if that district were not formed in a reasonable amount of time, what would happen?
If it were not formed within the next calendar year from the 1 year from the date of execution of the settlement agreement, then the settlement agreement is voided and you end up back where you were 2 weeks.
But everything's in place in terms of us receiving half of the money spent on our part.
You've received the money and you've received the deposit for the costs associated with the exclusion petition, which are minimal. That deposit is $200.
Everything's in place that we discussed in the last meeting.
Yes. Yeah, after the last meeting, staff sent them an invoice and they paid that last week, I think. And as drafted, the resolution states that the statutory factors favor exclusion. And I think that under the circumstances, broadly and specifically, that's true. You're welcome. Any questions?
Further.
No. I appreciate the rundown. I'm sure there are several things that favor exclusion. I think there were several things that favor keeping it with the district. For example, I think we would provide a better level of service, and as mentioned in public comment, we would provide better oversight and safety. And this is our business and we are good at it. And I am very disappointed to have to make this vote because we could not settle this when the city was doing the metro districts. I appreciate you, Director Wendell, for coming to that meeting where we could have had alternatives, but at this point, I don't see that we do have any good alternatives, and this is what we can do.
And just, yeah, for the record, I don't know if the note taker can put out this, but you know, we're going to lose, we're not losing money, but we would have gained millions of dollars. I know that's not under question now, but that was a concern originally as well.
Yes, as well as providing increased safety oversight.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, certainly the safety issues are more important.
right.
But millions of dollars are at stake as well.
So it is with disappointment, it looks like that I have, that I will go forward. Is there any further discussion?
I think it is the best we could come up with in a compromise environment, so it's hopefully isolating our constituents and our clients from anything going down, they may come up down the road.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Looks like unanimous for the 4 directors here. Motion passes. They are excluded as soon as things go.
Thank you.
Okay. Another text.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and we are on to selection of an attorney. I will tell you right now that I didn't have time to review everybody that you sent out this afternoon.
And
I would appreciate your rundown
yeah,
and maybe we can. push
Was that
this.
at noon today?
it was at 9:52.
Oh, excuse me.
And
Okay.
I'm glad Director Wickman is not here because I think he specifically asked that I get this out early so that he would have time to review it, and I did not do that, so I apologize. I have provided a list of 6 firms, each firm with 1 or 2 attorneys specifically called out there in an email. With very basic summaries of the firms. And I don't believe that this is necessarily an especially urgent project. So if you all would like to, I provided the websites and for the attorneys and firms. If you'd like to do some investigation and ask more specific questions, I'm happy to answer those or let you do your own research or your own investigation. But in short, I provided them in sort of a general order of recommendation with my specific recommendation at the top, and that's Bill Wambacher with Nazarene Stack and Wambacher.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Is that a recommendation?
That is a recommendation. I've spoken with him directly on a couple different matters and, think that he would be suitable for the project that you've got at hand. I think that all of the attorneys here would be suitable for the project that you've got at hand. I think that probably what you need is somebody that has, some exposure to statewide issues and is not focused on particular basins or particular types of water clients or smaller, projects. But I also don't think that you need somebody that is involved in multi-state issues or federal water issues, because that's gonna bring you expertise that you don't really need for the issues that you have. So that's reflected in the recommendations as well as the summaries.
About cost,
So, in general, the smaller firms, which I've identified as smaller, are gonna cost less than the bigger firms. As an example, Holland Hart is on here as a recommendation, and I don't know the specific billing rates for the attorneys that I've recommended, but Holland Hart's gonna be more expensive than the smaller firms based on prior experience. I think in general, you're looking at an hourly range of $250 to $450. Holland Hart may be an outlier in the $500-600 an hour range, but nobody's gonna be less than $250. No, nobody on this list is gonna be less than $250. And I've also identified the attorneys and firms that have a specific water law focus as against those that have a natural resources focus. So you don't have any oil and gas interests involved here, so that's not a field of expertise that you need. So that has rated a couple of the firms low.
Excellent. Anybody feel a pressing need to do this tonight? Otherwise,
I don't feel a pressing need. I did read the names, but I didn't go any further than that.
Yeah.
And I'm always happy with Dylan's recommendations, but if you want to take a little more time, maybe bring it up at the regular meeting,
okay.
that's fine, either way.
And that is in just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That would be great. I would like a little bit more time to look at them, although, because you did send more than one. I was expecting
I did.
1 or 2 or 3.
And I have, like I said, this list is primarily formed from a different district just hired water council, so I have looked into each of these already. This was the median list from that down selection process.
Did you talk to any of the
I talked to
size bill?
David Hayes with Hayes Posnanich Corver. He's current water council for a couple of our districts currently, so I talked to him occasionally. And he's the only person other than Bill that I've spoken to directly.
Thank you. All right, I asked our district manager here to give us a brief update on what was going on with Denver Water. You had recent contact with them.
Yes, as of right now, there are not any major water availability concerns that were identified to me from Denver Water. I get a weekly water loss report from them, which is also available on the website. It shows their entire networks, reservoir levels, where they were last year and where they're trending. So right now, everything's pretty full.
So Lakewood, the question was, Lakewood had said they've reached out to Denver Water to find out if they
Yeah.
could accommodate the comprehensive plan and all of this growth and whatnot.
I know Lakewood reached out to Denver about potentially taking over their water infrastructure. They want to just be a sewer district, so. I think there were negotiations for that, but. They have no plans. They have no interest in taking over.
But that would change the landscape out here. If Denver is not doing Lakewood's water for where do they have it? They do like northwest, say northeast, Lakewood. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Lakewood has a couple
Yeah,
places.
the main, I think the main liquid service area is around Colfax and, and that's, but that would also be sanitary sewer service wouldn't, you'll never been part of that with them, they don't do any of that,
Sure.
and that's usually, that's where our issues lie. With capacity.
Well, until we get to that trunk line for how much is coming in through Denver and we haven't. Yeah, that's still in flux, but okay, thank you. I just wanted to let people know. This could have been in an email. I was going to bring up something else to discuss. That's that. So. Unless there's any questions,
Thank you.
can move on to legal matters. Did you have any general updates? Mr. Bliss?
I have no general legal updates.
Okay, then I will make a motion. I move to go into executive session for legal advice on the Cummins mediation matter. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Director McDowell. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous approval?
As the district's attorney, it's my opinion that the discussion of the matter announced in the motion to go into executive session constitutes a privileged attorney-client communication. I am therefore recommending that no further record be kept until the executive session has been concluded. The time is now 6:52, and I am requesting that the recording be terminated. The time is now 7:49. We've resumed the recording and returned to open session because the attorney-client communication is finished. The executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were the board of directors, general counsel, myself, and litigation counsel, my partner, John Cody. As a note, at 7:19, there was an interruption in the internet service, and that was restored at approximately 7:23. That did not affect the recording because no recording was kept. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record.
Dylan, do we have to note again that all directors weren't present? That's just assumed.
Director Wickman was not present for the executive session. And good reminder, you need to determine whether that's an excused absence or not.
Constitutes an excused absence.
Prior to this. So, did Director Wickman tell you he would not be here today?
He called me when I was just on my way out the door to get here. He was stuck at the airport.
Okay.
He got, he actually called me yesterday, I think it was, and said he was gonna fly in, was gonna try and make it, and we hope to get here on time. Didn't have any issues, but he had issues at the airport.
Okay.
And he said he had just landed, so he had to get transportation to get in here. He didn't know if he would make it, so he said it probably won't be there, but he would try, but he.
Okay, so it's up to the board. You can move to excuse the absence or not.
Yeah, it was.
The only effect that it really has is 3 unexcused absences triggers a vacancy.
A what?
A vacancy. If you miss 3 regular board meetings without excuse, your seat is vacant. It's just one.
It's this one. I don't think it was
No.
an
This
excused
was a
absence,
special
but this
meeting.
was,
It was a special meeting. It was called.
it doesn't matter.
Oh.
If anybody want to make the motion to excuse? Okay. I don't think we had any legal matters that we needed to motion. New business, I wanted to make you all aware that our district manager was interviewed this morning, did a fantastic job, Denver 7.
Oh, you're on TV?
Hopefully it will air Thursday. So we will see, and that was in regards to the comp plan.
Excellent, sounds good. Look forward to Thursday morning.
You gonna report it?
I'm sure they'll send it immediately to us.
I hope they do. We were contacted by the morning reporter there, Maggie, within 10 minutes of sending out that press release, sent out a press release on Friday. They also were looking for a resident to interview. And I called, it was a pretty short notice thing, can we do it now? I called several people, including former director Dave Garner, who suggested that we find a place to interview. And so following that suggestion, we went down to the Beacon Apartments to show the high density growth that is coming in. And Josh and former director Alex Plotkin were interviewed. So thank you very much for doing that. Great job answering questions. We'll see what it turns out like.
Which CBS, NBC, BBC,
Seven.
So,
7 is
ABC.
ABC.
Yeah,
Cause I asked CBS.
oh yeah. Not interested, huh? We haven't heard from anybody else.
Yeah, well.
But-
Yeah,
It was interesting what she asked, didn't you think?
yeah, they, it's been I've had a disappointing time with the Denver media in general. I'm getting to a point of I don't even want to talk to them anymore.
Dylan, I should have asked during legal matters, but is there anything we need to work on or do? That legislative session, lobbyist session about the eminent domain, I thought was interesting with the switch in the public use doctrine. Is there anything that will be affecting this, that conversation, and that lawyer who was involved in that discussion, I thought it seemed like she was on top of things that it appeared that Denver Water had not researched, so.
Yeah, I think maybe what would be helpful, so I think the answer is no, there's nothing currently that's gonna be affecting the district, but I think it might be helpful to have, the lobbyists put together just a summary of that conversation for board consumption.
Okay,
And I can help with that.
okay,
It was interesting. It was also interesting to watch, the attorney Lawton Johnson, who's representing Dominion Water, speak.
which one was that?
He was the guy that was kind of barely restrained in his aggression about,
This is you're coming after my single case,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. That was just, I didn't realize that they were trying to take over pipes, I thought it was an easement or do something, I didn't realize that they were saying your pipes are not my pipes. That's what I'm hearing now. Maybe you should make,
I think they need to cross. You know, in order to serve another part of their district. And I think that's what the issue is.
you think you could ask?
Yeah.
Heidi was the one on the call, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Katrina came in later. Thank you. Okay, that's all I wanted for new business. Anybody else have anything? Okay, 8 o'clock, we will adjourn. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I ordered you
I
the
see.
information about the
To
mediation.
get there.
Yeah.